are right up at the front counter. We've got stacks, so go and grab a couple. Hopefully you guys are already loyal followers for book review. If you're not, though, we are on social media, aka I run our social media, so I need to get this plug out. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and anything else that they come up with. Tag us, like us, tweet at us, wave at us. I like to wave back. Anyway, so on that note, though, please take a quick minute to silence your cell phones, or at least put them on vibrate, do not disturb, whatever works. If you don't know how to do that, just raise your hand. I can come and help you. It's really not a big deal. Okay, so without much further ado, I'd like to introduce to you tonight's speaker. This is suddenly very high thing. All right, Micheal Medico was born in New York City, where he attended Power Memorial Academy before joining the U.S. Navy, where he served stateside during the Vietnam War. He later attended Pace University, graduating with a degree in marketing and advertising. He founded an advertising agency and served as the CEO for 35 years. He's written and published numerous articles and has been a featured participant in many panel discussions and industry workshops. Here to speak to you tonight about his latest book with a tongue twister of a title that I absolutely love, Absolutely Positively Genuine Real Fake News. Please welcome back to book review this evening, Micheal Medico.
Wow, what a nice welcome, what a nice crowd too. Thank you so much for coming, and I do want to welcome you again to book review. Now, for those of you who have not been to book review, you should know it is the largest independent bookshop here on Long Island. It's a wonderful place, and I've been coming here for 40, 45 years, and I just love it. I get lost in it. Sometimes my wife, Joan, starts yelling at me because I'm here too long. But anyway, I was first here, I think about 4 years ago, and at that time I was speaking, and I had a book signing for a romance, suspense thriller novel that I had written called The Sainted. Now, The Sainted is part of a trilogy. So this was book one of the trilogy. Now, at the time, I said to the crowd, and some of you might remember this, but I did say to the crowd, I was so happy with the fact that I actually wrote a book, and it was actually published, that I said, I've got to start looking like an author. So that is why I wear patches on this. But this is my fourth book. Absolutely Positively Genuine Real Fake News is my fourth book that has been published. And so I've graduated now to wearing tortoiseshell glasses as well as patches on my sleeve. So when I write my 10th book, you'll see a total transformation. And I hope you all come back for that. Anyway, again, thank you so much for coming. This book is a political satire. I don't want anybody to take anything too seriously about it, but it is a political satire. And I think fake news can be defined by this quote. The best way to lie is to tell the truth, carefully edited truth. And that is, in fact, what fake news is. Now, it was written, or rather the inspiration behind the book, is someone called Sir Telsunn Margraves. Now, I will introduce Sir Telsunn Margraves next, but first, he came up with this subtitle. And the subtitle is A Jaunty Romp Through the Deep State, Media Industrial Complex, and the Progressive Mind. So that kind of distills what the thrust of all the articles you would read in this book. Now, to let you know, Sir Telsunn Margraves is, who loves his anonymity, and he's the communicator, elucidator, and illuminator of fake news. Now, Sir Telsunn is an alter ego, and that alter ego channels, Sir Telsunn channels his thoughts through this alter ego to me. I take them, write them in the form of articles or interviews or just stories, and that's what you'll read in the book. Now, fake news has become the lexicon in our society. There is so much out there, whether it's digital or print or TV, wherever you turn and consume news, you're going to hear fake news. Now, in that regard, there are a number of very famous people, some infamous, and they have all commented about this book. So first, Karl Marx came out and said, Bible move over. Now there's absolutely, positively, genuine, real fake news. Harvey Weinstein was so impressed with this book that he said it made him feel so good he felt like crying. Vladimir Putin, who himself has been one of the fake news, in the fake news himself, Vladimir Putin had said, "The rumor that I am Donald Trump's love child is absolutely fake news." He said he looks nothing like Donald Trump. And our own esteemed Senator Chuck Schumer said, "Fake news, who knew?" Anyway, these and many quotes like this are in the book, and it will give you a flavor for what is to come and what people think of this. Now, how do you build a fake news narrative? I think this is a good place to start because there is a commonality of all fake news. And the commonality starts with facts. Facts you can find from published sources, anonymous sources, unnamed sources, leaked sources, or a Russian. Next, you have to find truths. And these are lists of truths. Now, the truths are part of, when combined with the facts, what generates interest in fake news. So, this is an article that you'd read in the book. And the first truth is, there is a former director of the FBI. His name was James Comey. There is an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. Her name is Ruth Bader Ginsburg. They both live and work in Washington, D.C. All truth. James Comey was voted the sexiest man in Washington by a group of progressive women. That's a published fact. Comey experienced, in quote, an awkward silence and a disgusting hug by Trump when it made him so, it traumatized him so much that he actually had to hide behind a curtain at a White House event. People sell used Hummers online in print all the time. And there is such an awful thing as sexual harassment. Now you take these disparate facts, you add them to the disparate truth, and there is only one possible, undeniable conclusion you can draw. FBI's James Comey accuses Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg of sexual harassment. I mean, what else would you I mean, easy, simple, hard to prove, hard to disprove, and the fact that this could be true is compelling. It's even scintillating on some level. So, this is in the book, and then I'm going to take you through 3 articles that I think distill the essence of what fake news is, what you'll read. First is, and by the way, these are exclusive in the book. You won't read these anywhere else. I hope you do, actually, because then I'll sue whoever publishes them. Anyway, Samantha Bee interviews the Clintons, both Hillary and Bill. Now, Samantha Bee, for those who don't know who she is, she's the sycophant in chief, the biggest flatterer of Hillary Clinton. She just loves Hillary. And she asked in this interview a series of probing questions, and one of the questions elicited a response, a very surprising response. We find that at Wellesley, she took a home economics course, and in that home economics course, she learned how to sew. And because she learned how to sew, you know those beautiful pantsuits that she wore at the Donald Trump debates? Come on, you guessed it, she made them. That, in addition, as the probing questions moved on, we find out that Hillary had a very traumatic experience. It seems that when Sir Edmund Hillary reached the apex of the first man or woman to reach the apex of Mount Everest, Hillary never was thanked by Sir Edmund Hillary for using her name. And this created a stain on her soul. So it was very traumatic for Hillary. I think she's still hurting from that. The next one is the Trump-Limbaugh barbecue. Now, President Trump decides he's going to have a barbecue at the White House for orphans. Orphans from the Rush Limbaugh home for orphan children. Now, Paul Krugman of the New York Times got a hold of this. And in the Times article, he was very upset because he declared that there are just as many Democrat orphans as there are Republican orphans. And the fact that President Trump didn't invite any Democrat orphans really got him mad. And on top of that, he hates the name orphans. So what he did was he decided to name them no parent persons. Well, this morphed into this media feeding frenzy of horrific proportions. And I caution you, when you read the article, it is gruesome. So please, when you read the article, understand where it's coming from. The final little excerpt I'm going to take you through is the new European campaign from European President Donald Tusk, and that is wear a burqa to work. Now, in Europe, they have attracted a number of Muslim immigrants to the countries, these various countries, and what Donald Tusk wanted to do was coalesce these Muslim immigrants into the cultures of these countries, and he decided to make it more palatable, to make the people feel more welcome, that all Europeans, whether you're Italian, French, Spanish, whatever, wear a burqa to work. But he said, to make it easier to adapt, he's suggesting that the burqas, you could decorate your burqas with your favorite logos of your favorite cars, or your fast food logos, you could do that, or little buttons with the Disney characters on it. Of course, this is only for men. Women, forget it. You still have to wear the black and the gray burqa. Forget it. And it ends with in a climactic event at the JFK Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. It was the first annual Fake News Awards, or as they have become known, the Falsies. Sir Telsunn Margraves is the MC, and when you hear the list of celebrity presenters as well as recipients, you're going to be very impressed. First, there was Dr. Phil and Lindsay Lohan. You have Katy Perry. You have Mike the Situation Sorrentino from Jersey Shore fame, who not only brought his well-known attempt at humor, he also brought his abs, as you can see. He's showing them right there. And there were recipients, of course, the legendary Dan Rather, who practically launched the category, and, of course, Rachel Maddow. Anyway, this is a special night. It's black tie, 2,600 attendees, and it's a wonderful thing. And during the awards, you will get to hear articles that you may not remember, but they're from the last 3 decades, and they're truthful, and they distill what fake news is, at least from the presenter's standpoint. I'd like to now read you a couple of chapters from the book. In this one, CNN's Ana Navarro calls Trump a nincompoop and unfit to be human. Now, the article begins. In what is turning out to be a major escalation in a war of words between Ana Navarro and the Trump White House, Miss Navarro, the CNN commentator, doubled down on her name-calling of President Trump. In an interview with Wolf Blitzer, Ana Navarro said, speaking as if directly to President Trump, and I quote, "Listen, you crazy lunatic man baby, stop it. We have a president who's mean. We have a president who's nasty. We have a president who's immature, unstable, and acts just like a crazy person. Confront this and confront this hard, or it will never stop, and it will embarrass us all. It will take the presidency low, low, low. Stop. Look, if you can't control your tweeting habits, then stop tweeting. Go seek therapy. Go knit. Find a hobby. Talk to your wife. Do anger management." Closed quote. It became apparent to anyone who saw the interview, Ana Navarro was becoming a bit unhinged in her diatribe against the president. This did not go unnoticed by the White House, who immediately issued a response that read, "Miss Navarro would be well advised to seek a medical professional who can help her with her own anger management." Here is a bit of free advice. Go home, open a bottle of wine or whatever alcoholic beverage you drink, sit down, pour a big glass, and get smashed. You really need it. The moment the word came out about the White House response, Ana Navarro took the bottle of wine she had been drinking and smashed it against the wall. She called ABC News and was given a slot that evening. She practically spit out the words, and I quote, "He is unfit to be human." And an unnamed source said Ms. Navarro also said, quote, "President Trump needs to lose weight." This characterization seemed to have set off a tirade of tweets from the president as he took exception to the personal affront at the mere mention of his weight. He said, "I am a glorious 6'2" tall. I am a fabulous 236 pounds. And I am in fantastic health. I admitted to Dr. Oz, though, that I am a bit overweight. The president also noted that Ms. Navarro might take some time to look in the mirror and offered advice, suggesting she should spend more time eating at the salad bar and less time at Giuseppe's all-you-can-eat pizza palace. The war between Ana Navarro and President Trump is escalating faster than one might expect. An irate Ms. Navarro, on hearing the president's comments, ran straight to CNN microphone and practically screams into the mic, and I quote, "Donald Trump is a shameful nincompoop and unfit to be human. This statement goes straight to the heart of what I have said, and that is Trump has early onset dementia and should check himself into a clinic." In a rare and uncharacteristic move, President Trump decides to leave the response to such juvenile sentiments to his surrogates. The first response came from White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who said of Ana Navarro, "We at the White House cannot find any of her personal biographical information where it said Ms. Navarro received her medical degree and is qualified to make a judgment as to the president's mental or physical health. We at the White House believe she is a doo-doo head and a pee-pee brain." When Ana Navarro hears this recent retort from Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, she fumes, and she demands a slot on CNN Tonight with Don Lemon. She is the first guest to be interviewed on the show, and she is seething. "Don, thank you for allowing me to tell you of the vicious attack on me. And to tell you, and my God-given right to have an opinion on that lunatic. Aside from being a nincompoop, he's a feeble-minded sissy pants of the first order." Don Lemon, ever sympathetic, says, "You forgot snot for brains." The next day, when the transcript of Ana Navarro interview is published, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo releases a statement of his own. He says, "Ms. Navarro appears to have lost her mind. As Secretary of State, I've had to deal with Ayatollahs, North Korean dictator, a petulant and corrupt diplomat, but never have I ever had to deal with such a stinky-faced, smelly feet like Ana Navarro." Ana Navarro spends all night incensed at the insults being hurled at her by the White House, and she is so mad it is hard for her to think. She cannot let this affront to her character and dignities go unanswered, so she releases a statement that is circulated through the AP and all media outlets that reads as follows. "My fellow Americans, in recent days I have become the subject of scorn and ridicule by a president and an administration that, in my humble opinion, has become unglued at the seams. I'm a commentator, and in that regard I'm expected to present my opinion to counter other opinions contrary to mine. I'm a hard-nosed, competent media pro, but never in my life have I had to deal with such an immature, fart-breath, smelly wee-wee heads like there are in the Trump administration. From this moment on, I refuse to stoop to the low level of the White House and reply to these scurrilous insults." The next day, after the release was circulated to the media, the White House responded. We are grateful to Ms. Navarro that she has decided to take a more mature approach to her rantings and put personal attacks aside. We in the administration would like to tell the American people that there is no room for this type of juvenile back and forth that has been going on. Ms. Navarro, while a member of the Fifth Estate, albeit biased, appears to have started this, we shall abide by the same standard she uses. In closing, we wish that tushy-washy, poopy-tailed, stinky-head Ms. Navarro all the best. Now, I think this illustrates very well the idea that two disparate sides of the political spectrum could come together and maturely approach these issues. For my next reading, I have, oh, by the way, there's Ana Navarro. I forgot to click the, she's doing her nails in the CNN interview. Ah, that's what she's doing. Okay, for my next reading, I've selected an article from the book that has its roots in the predilection that broad-minded progressives believe that there is good in everyone, and therapy can even redeem the vilest humans. As many Americans wish to believe, we are all God's children, and I am sure that they would appreciate that. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, recently checked himself into the Seattle Happy House Clinic for obsessive compulsive disorder. The article begins. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the leader of the terror group ISIS, has recently checked himself into Seattle's Happy House Center for the treatment of obsessive compulsive disorders. Readers may recall that Mr. al-Baghdadi had promised to rid the world of all non-believers, and now he recognizes this all stems from a condition called obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD. In a brief written statement, Mr. al-Baghdadi said he tried, but could not understand why he kept cutting the heads off of people. But in the declaration, he ended his statement with a hopeful, "Now I know." He said that he remembers incidents where he demanded his followers line up his captives in perfect order before he commanded their heads be cut off. Now, Mr. al-Baghdadi laments, what difference does it make? The head of Happy House, Dr. Evan Tamper, said this need to have perfect order is a common symptom of OCD, and along with other compulsions can make life truly difficult for people like Mr. al-Baghdadi. Dr. Tamper also listed other symptoms, such as germophobia, aggression towards others, and excessive hand washing, all contributing to a patient's inability to lead a normal life. Mr. al-Baghdadi has adjusted to life in the clinic very well, although the attendants have taken all sharp instruments away from him. He is responding to his daily regimen of therapies, which include psychoanalysis, family therapy, psychodrama, eclectic therapy, accelerated experimental dynamic psychotherapy, classic Alderian psychotherapy, dance therapy or dance movement therapy, Gestalt therapy, transference focused psychotherapy, sexual identity therapy, as well as crocheting and badminton. He is quoted as saying, I love the various therapy sessions, and I have crocheted scarves and mittens for all the doctors who treat me. Dr. Tamper held a press conference by phone, providing the news media with information as to what life is like for Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi as he tries to find his inner self, get in touch with his feminine side, and search for his inner child. Dr. Tamper explains to all participants from the media how the process works. Life at Happy House is very different from what Mr. al-Baghdadi had experienced in Raqqa. In Raqqa, you had to walk around or over the many dead bodies that littered the streets. In Seattle, our biggest problem is the increase of the minimum wage to $15 an hour, although you may have to walk around the homeless. In Raqqa, there is no running water, no functioning sewer system, no food, no hospitals, and no functioning government other than ISIS. At Happy House, the pool heater is broken. It rains all the time. The food is salt-free. We don't take Obamacare. The toilets flush property, and we have Mr. al-Baghdadi's favorite classes, crocheting and floral arrangement. Dr. Tamper continued with his background on his newest resident. A number of reporters have also asked what the other patients at Happy House think of Mr. al-Baghdadi. I must admit, I was concerned that he would not be accepted by the patients. However, I was pleasantly surprised at how warm and open they are about having a murderous, bloodthirsty terrorist among them. Mr. al-Baghdadi has proved himself to be quite a joiner and seems to have a fondness for badminton. Recently, after an intense game for the Happy House Badminton Championship, Mr. al-Baghdadi was made captain of the team. His teammates have also given him the nickname Chip as a sign of acceptance. Dr. Tamper is very open in discussing his latest celebrity patient, and he wants to be forthcoming about the man and his daily regimen. As you can imagine, there are accommodations that need to be made. Prayer rugs, Qurans, halal food, ethnically appropriate clothing, including underwear. Although Mr. al-Baghdadi indicates he doesn't wear underwear. There were also some rather unique requests, including GPS systems to track truth movements back home, posters of Miley Cyrus and Ashley Judd, among others, and recent issues of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, as well as a daily ration of Hostess Ding Dongs. Dr. Tamper continues. There is one topic that I must address. When Mr. al-Baghdadi initially checked himself in, I was concerned that the immigration services, such as ICE, would not look at this in a kind way. We were visited by ICE agents, Navy SEAL Team Unit 6, and a SWAT team from the Seattle Police Department. They insisted we release Chip in their custody as they had a number of concerns. We need to remind them that Seattle is a sanctuary city and that we would look very unkindly at any attempt to keep him from completing his therapy and resuming a normal, productive life. Thank goodness the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld our position. There were a number of requests to speak to Mr. al-Baghdadi, but I need to remind you, he speaks very little English. This could cause miscommunications among the various media as they report his quotes. So he's asked me to read a statement that he has written. Dr. Tamper concluded his phone conference by reading the statement of Mr. Abu Bakr Chip al-Baghdadi. I, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, also known as Chip to my fellow residents, send greetings from Happy House Center for the treatment of obsessive-compulsive disorders. There is an old saying among ISIS warriors, look to the sky for wisdom, look to the sky for enlightenment, look to the sky for awareness, and look to the sky for drones before they blow you up. These are words I have lived by, but no longer. I used to wake up to the sounds of crying children, hungry for food, hungry for their loved ones, hungry for safety. Now I wake up to posters of Cher and Bryan Cranston, and I begin the day with good thoughts. Through daily therapeutic sessions with the fine staff at Happy House, I have tried to get in touch with my feminine side, but I refuse to wear those burqas that cover your face. I can also look towards my inner child and see there were many reasons why I am the way I am. I was neglected by my parents, and I was always told to clean my room. They would constantly nag and gripe, clean your room. After a few weeks of this, I killed them. And I thought that in order to solve my problems, I must take matter into my own hands. Now I realize I was wrong. I, Abu Bakr Chip al-Baghdadi, note that before I came to Happy House, I developed a facial tic. These tics came on very suddenly, and the ISIS medical team told me to take aspirin to see them in the morning. When I woke, the tic was still there, so I had them killed. Again, I was wrong. There are also bouts of eye blinking, facial grimacing, shoulder shrugging, head or shoulder jerking. ISIS warriors just thought I was going through a phase. Now I know I was wrong about this and many other things. Those days are past. At Happy House, I learned to confront my problems. I learned that I am a good person. I learned that it is okay not to kill people who don't agree with me. Although the beloved Dr. Tamper made me aware of the reasons I am the way I am, and now I am confident that I can re-enter normal society and work towards becoming a productive member. I want to say to all in America, Europe, Africa, and beyond, who have welcomed so many of our brothers and sisters into your countries, thank you. Thank you for your open hands and open hearts. And we are ever mindful that we are different, but we must all live together to try and understand our differences so we can all get along. I would appreciate, to help us assimilate better, if you would please do not drink liquor, eat pork, allow women to drive or wear bikinis, and cancel Megyn Kelly's program. It's horrible. Praise be to Allah and his prophet Muhammad. Dr. Tamper ends his press conference by saying, anytime anyone tells you that therapy doesn't work, just tell them to see the transformation in Chip al-Baghdadi. Anyway, what I'd like to do is, in addition to the articles in Absolutely Positively Genuine Real Fake News, I would welcome you to go to our website. I'll give you the URL in a little while, and hit the breaking news blog button, where you could read the latest from Sir Telsunn. Now, these are blog posts that he has written, and very topical. They are written in such a way that I think they were intended to be enlightening and entertaining. So I'll take you through 5 of them. There are a number of them there. We update it as often as we can. So I welcome you to go. It's free. Just go and check it out. The first one is, how selfless can you get? Sir Telsunn genuinely admits this. And it seems that Alyssa Milano has pledged to donate 2 kidneys, 3 ribs, assorted other organs, and her husband David to Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now, it should be noted, and Miss Milano did not realize that if you donate both your kidneys, you're going to die. So when it got into her lungs, she decided she was only going to give one of her lungs to Justice Ginsburg. And in a really awful event that also happened in relation to this, her husband David has gone missing. We don't know where he is. The police said they kind of think they know why he left, but they don't know where he is. So there is an all-points bulletin out for David in case anyone wants to see. Anybody sees him rather. The second one is finally getting to the bottom of things. Now, as you know, for the last 2.5 years, there's been nothing but Russia collusion out there. And it seems that special investigator, is that what his title is? Special prosecutor or something like that. Anyway, Robert Mueller has closed the investigation, but it has been disclosed that there was one rock that was left unturned. That is why Robert Mueller recommends that Bernie Madoff's jail sentence be commuted from 150 years to 100 years. He cites sweeping cooperation with the Russia collusion investigation. And the prosecutorial team has said they have never, ever had a witness that is as credible as Bernie Madoff. and that, by the way, these stories will be updated, so please keep your eye out on them.
Keep your eye on.
Yes, the next one is, why didn't I think of this? Now, this is an appropriate title because, as you know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez promises free OBGYN exams for all male in her new plan for socialized medicine. Now, we have to understand this in the context of Ms. Ocasio-Cortez's background. She is a graduate cum laude from Boston University with a degree in economics. And when she was asked by the news media, how do you intend to pay for all these things? We've done the math, and it seems that if you have socialized medicine, as well as the Green New Deal, the total cost for those over 10 years is $100 trillion. That's trillion with a T. Well, she said, and I quote, "People often say, how are you going to pay for it?" And I find the question so puzzling. Because how do you pay for something that's more affordable? How do you pay for cheaper rent? How do you pay for it? Well, you just pay for it. Now you understand why she was elected to Congress. The next blog post is something to consider. Now, in this particular one, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, she's the new majority leader of the House, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats say that the MS-13 slogan, kill, rape, control, needs to be heard in the context of Ecuadorian culture. And when you do that, when you're able to do that, you will see that is it exactly the same as the 1845 presidential slogan, Tippecanoe and Tyler too. And the mainstream media believes that this is in fact true, and they all agree with this. Now, Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin, senators, have also come out with their own statement. And in this statement they say, when you take the words kill, rape, control, and you look at them as individual words, they lose so much of their impact. As a matter of fact, they say, in a very short time, kill, rape, and control is going to have the exact same benign impact as only you could prevent forest fires, or let your fingers do the walking through the yellow pages, or Wayfair. You got just what I need. The next one is Sir Telsunn's personal favorite. I would like to ask for a show of hands. And you don't have to disclose this if you don't want to, but are there any white men in the audience? Okay, they're white men? Oh, good. Okay, white men, good. Okay, we got a number of white men in the audience. So this is Sir Telsunn's personal favorite. Senator Mazie Hirono, Democrat of Hawaii, and Georgetown professor Christine Fair joined together to write the easy 15-minute male genitalia cookbook. Now, well, how could one not forget the time that Senator Hirono at the Justice Kavanaugh hearings came up to the microphone, the cameras, and she shouted in it, men should just step up and shut up and step up. And Professor Christine Fair said, and I quote, entitled white men deserve miserable deaths, and suggested we castrate their corpses and feed them to swine. Well, she seems to have had a change of heart, because she and Senator Hirono got together to write the 15-minute, easy 15-minute male genitalia cookbook. And you can go to www.realfakenewsthebook.com. Just click on there, you'll read the full articles, you'll also, full blog posts. Also, there are a number of other ones there too, and Sir Telsunn and I try to update them as often as we can, and they are meant to entertain and enlighten you, so we hope you enjoy them. In closing, I'd like to thank you all for coming. I really genuinely appreciate the turnout. You guys are great. And just in the grand Judeo-Christian tradition, there is wine and water in the back. And in the grand American tradition, we also have some snacks back there. So please go help yourself. And please spend time at this truly wonderful place. Just explore it. It's just a great place. I've been coming here for 45 years, and I just love it. And I hope you enjoyed tonight's evening, and thank you so much for coming. Oh, by the way, if you buy the book or if you'd like me to sign it, I would love to sign it for you and have a chance to talk and say hi.